Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with white bean chicken breast chili. That's right. Why am I making chili the second best way? For you. You see, personally, I only use chicken thighs for chicken chili. I just think it's better. But I've gotten so many requests for a version using chicken breasts, a lot of requests, like borderline harassment, that I decided to give in and show you how to do it. So here we go. All right, in a saute pan over medium-high heat with a little bit of vegetable oil, we're going to cook 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And yes, those are gigantic breasts. Those things would make iced tea blush. So I seared that about 4 minutes on that side. I flipped it over. I put the cover on, and I turned the heat down to medium, and I cooked that for about another 5 minutes. I don't need this to cook all the way. All right, because we're going to dice this and put it back in the chili. And of course, you're going to check the blog post for more info. And when those were almost but not quite cooked all the way through, I removed them to cool down to room temperature. All right, just let them sit there. Do not try to cut these up while they're hot. All the juices will run out. So we're going to set that aside. And then right back in the same pan, we're going to put that on medium heat with an extra teaspoon of vegetable oil. I'm going to dump in a diced onion, 1 large onion, and a big pinch of salt. And as you know, the salt's going to draw out some liquid. It's basically going to deglaze the bottom of the pan that has all those lovely chicken bits caramelized to the bottom. So that's going to go about 4 or 5 minutes, just until it's sort of translucent. You know the drill. At that point, I'm going to dump in a whole bunch of minced garlic, give that a stir around for about a minute, and then we'll add some spices. Now I'm going to keep mine very simple and straightforward. We're going to go with some ancho chili, some cumin, some chipotle, and some dry oregano. And you know we like to cook our spices a little bit before we add the liquids. And I'm also going to add in about a teaspoon of flour. That's going to give this a little bit of body. So I'm going to cook that for about 2 or 3 minutes. And at that point, we're going to pour in the first of several additions of chicken stock. All right, so I'm going to dump in about a cup. I'm going to give that a nice stir, of course, scraping all the goodness off the bottom again. And I'm also going to dump in about a teaspoon of cornmeal, which again is going to add a little bit of body. Actually, I'm not sure if it really does that much. It's more of a superstition. Everybody knows if you put a little bit of cornmeal in your chili, it's good luck. So I'm going to stir the cornmeal in. And I've adjusted my heat here as just over medium. Not quite medium high, just over medium. That's going to come up to a simmer and look something like that. And at that point, we're going to dump in our white beans. Now I'm using cannellini beans. You can use any bean for this, of course. All right, so we're going to stir in those beans. And then we're going to have a little liquid level check. So I'm going to splash them in here, about a cup. Give it a stir. Looks pretty good. I'm going to hit it with some salt and some freshly ground black pepper. That's going to come back up to a simmer. And I'm just going to cook that for about 5 minutes while I dice my chicken breast, which by now totally cooled, which means it's safe to cut. So I'm going to cut it in some thick slices. And because these breasts were so huge, I decided to cut them again lengthwise and then dice them up. All right, something like that. And we're going to go ahead and dump that into the chili, give it a stir. And yes, once again, we're going to add stock. And you're thinking, just add all the stock at the beginning. That's not how I roll. I like to add in several additions so I'm in complete control. So I'm going to stir in the chicken, and I'm going to add enough stock to just barely cover it. So something like that. That looks like just about the right amount. And of course, that's going to come back up to a simmer, but that chicken's already cooked. So we're only going to simmer that chicken for about 3-4 minutes. And of course, I went with a very basic, sort of quick and easy weeknight version. If you wanted to make this more extravagant with, roasted peppers or mushrooms or squash or other stuff, go ahead, throw it in. You are, of course, the big Willie of your chili. So make it how you want. And then when we think we're almost there, we're of course going to give it a taste. All right, I'm checking for sweetness, tanginess, heat, etc. I decided it needed a pinch of cayenne and a little bit of sugar to balance the acidity, and a nice handful of freshly chopped green onions, just for a little fresh green hit at the end. So as soon as we stir that in and give it one final taste, we're done. Although there is one optional step if you want. Sometimes I'll take the back of a spoon and just smash a few of the beans just to thicken up the texture a little bit. All right? And right there I decided I'm done. Let's eat. You're going to ladle that into some kind of hot chili receptacle. I'm going to suggest a little dollop of sour cream, just so you can say dollop, some freshly chopped cilantro, maybe, possibly, a little extra shake of cayenne, and that is done. white bean and chicken breast chili. And I gotta tell you, for not using thighs, this came out really good. I was impressed. And yes, this is gonna be a little lower in fat because we're going with chicken breast instead of chicken thighs, if that kind of thing turns you on. But take it from someone that just ate this, even though it's a little lighter, that rich, spicy, comforting goodness of chili was fully in effect. So I really hope you give this a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.